We all have a different upbringing, a different perspective, different lived experiences. In this automated world, that's our human edge.
Welcome to Marketing Your Way podcast, a show for women in marketing and creative fields who are ready to rethink what's next. I'm your host, Anastasia Mann, marketing strategist, agency owner, career mentor, and once upon a time, a corporate VP of marketing. This is your go-to space for career reinvention, whether that means launching your own business, pivoting into freelance, or finding a role that finally feels like a fit. Each week, I bring you honest stories, actionable strategies, and mindset tools to help you move forward with clarity and confidence. We'll also dive into what's actually working in marketing right now, from personal branding and client acquisition to AI tools and emerging trends shaping the future of our industry. And just in case you're wondering, yes, this podcast comes with a Ukrainian accent and a whole lot of straight talk, because it's time to build a career that works for you. Let's dive in. Today's guest is someone whose career journey feels like a masterclass in purpose, storytelling, and redefining success on your own terms. I'm joined by Dana Bontemps, an award-winning marketing leader with more than 20 years of experience turning cultural insights into campaigns that do not just perform. They create impact. She's currently the Chief Marketing Officer at The League, a nonprofit social impact organization that uses culture to drive civic engagement and positive change. Before The League, Dana led brand marketing at OWN, the Oprah Winfrey Network, and held senior roles at VaynerMedia and Starcom MediaVest, building a career in the intersection of culture, storytelling, and results. Her work has earned Anthem, Effie, and even Daytime Emmy Awards, reflecting her ability to balance purpose with performance at scale. In our conversation today, Dana shares what it's like to work alongside Oprah's team, why your lived experience is your greatest edge, and how curiosity and kindness can transform leadership in marketing. We also talk about redefining success through different seasons of life and what it really takes to drive social change in today's content-saturated world. This one is packed with wisdom, so let's dive in. Hi, Dana. Welcome to Marketing Your Way podcast. I'm so happy you're joining us today for a new episode. Could you please tell us about your current role as CMO at The League? For those who do not know, what is The League and what drew you to this work?
Yeah, I am so proud to be the CMO of The League. We are a nonprofit social impact organization that creates change through the lens of culture. So we work with creators and influencers, publishers, brands, and other nonprofit organizations to do some good out into the world. And I was drawn to it because I really started on a path of wanting to do purpose-driven work. You know, I did a lot of fun and sexy stuff in my career. But, you know, when my time is done on this earth, I want to make sure that I left even like a small amount of good.
This is such a beautiful cause, and I'm so happy to have you on our podcast, because from our previous conversation, we had a little coffee chat, and you built this amazing career and you've worked for very famous brands throughout. And I would love to know, just stepping back a little bit, before The League, before everything, after you graduated college, how did your career begin and what inspired you to choose marketing as your path?
Yeah, I'm going to be really honest. I don't think I consciously chose it. I graduated from the University of Maryland, and my sister and my grandmother, who's my idol, she just passed, but she was just my idol. They both were in New York City, and that is where I ran to New York City. And I was looking for a job. I knew I wanted to do something creative, and my sister's friend told me about a job opening at Gray Advertising, which was such a good first job because it gave me the chance to check out all the different departments, like account managers and producers and creatives. And down the hall from where I was working was this small agency called Alliance. And they were doing branded entertainment, which is kind of a dated term. But at the time, it was so cool. Like they were doing Fashion Week and, you know, bringing on talent for CoverGirl. And the team was just so innovative and so tapped into culture. And I, you know, really worked hard to get into that team and eventually did. And that really kickstarted my career. So I think like the path of being curious is sort of where I landed up in marketing, but more like brand partnerships and culture, I think is where I more am like firmly grounded.
I actually visited University of Maryland when I was in college. One of my friends studied there. So I went to see his family and to see the university. So it's a beautiful place, right? And yes, of course, New York City, it calls all of us. Similar story. I was an international student and I studied in Kentucky in a small university. And one of my friends lived in New York and she said, when you graduate, feel free to come. You'll stay with me for a little bit while you get your footing and you get a job. So I graduated and I, of course, went to New York and the rest is the history.
Yes. If you have a couch to stay on or a floor, the answer is always yes. It's like so many people's origin stories. And I just love that about New York City.
And that energy that kind of pushes you forward, especially when you're very young and hungry for this big opportunity and big career is what we are all looking for. My favorite movie is Devil Wears Prada.
Okay. I love it. Yes, yes, yes.
So you've held leadership roles across agencies, networks, and now in social impact marketing. What's the common thread running through all those chapters for you?
That's a good question. I think when I look back on my career, what I have found as like the secret sauce of success is being part of a team that works well together. And a lot of that is soft skills. And I've been fortunate enough to be in those environments where those soft skills are nurtured. So whether you're in client services or you're motivating a team to do a project that no one wants to do, or you're executing an event and the generator breaks and you need your vendor to come up with a solution, like, excuse my language, but like shit kind of hits the fan in all aspects of your work. That's why it's called work. And if you can just be in a group where people are connected and want to strive for the best creative solutions and want to work for a common greater good, then that's, I think, where the magic happens.
Yes. Marketing is a field. Every time there is a problem somewhere else within the company, they come to marketing for a solution. And as you said, like it could be as crazy as generator breaks and you have to figure out where to get that second generator in 30 minutes.
Yeah. When I was on the agency side, you had to like bring along other agencies that might see you as competitors to work along. When you're on the network side, you're working with other agencies that may have not signed on to your program. Like no matter what side of marketing or brand partnerships or even whatever job you are holding within this industry, you're going to be working externally with other teams, internally, externally. And like those people soft skills to me have been just invaluable in my career, both as like a mentor and watching it as a mentee.
Yes, absolutely. So you mentioned something during our previous conversation is that the careers do not have to be linear. Can you share a moment where a detour turned into a defining opportunity for you?
Yeah, I'm an exennial. I'm actually like the eldest of the millennials, but I feel like we were kind of brought up to be like work and climb up the ladder and get the title and lean in. And I think that it's time to break that model. And I've had the privilege to take breaks from my career and have found that like only good stuff has come from it. Like I took a few months off when I had the opportunity in 2008 to travel around India and Turkey with a friend. And that was incredible. And then I had a chance in 2013 to go spend like a month in Namibia. And that was incredible. And again, I came back and my career is there. I also was able to jump from like agency to publisher, and now I'm in nonprofit. And I just think that success doesn't need to be defined by like how far up this proverbial ladder you get in this one organization or this one industry. And I think it's great to jump around. And I think more people need to be inspired to. I mean, jump around kind of has that like bad connotation of like not holding down a job. But I think that if you are continuing to push yourself to be curious and challenged, then like I encourage people to explore different avenues that fulfill them.
Absolutely. It's interesting. I'm also a millennial, but in the middle of the spectrum. And I see the difference between the current generation because I work with a lot of graduates from college right now within my agency. And some of them are just brilliant people and they're eager to learn and they want to capture everything. And they have this like amazing work ethic. And some coming from a perspective quite quitting, I understand where that comes from as well, where they just do the bare minimum to keep the job and no initiative coming from them. You know, so those are definitely a more difficult people to work with. At the same time, the one thing that is interesting with the new generation is that they want to live a life and the work to support their life versus the boomers and millennials. We were all like work, and then maybe we have a little bit of a break in between.
Yeah.
So this is redefining what work-life balance is, what it is, and kind of realizing that you're living your life and you should be focusing on what makes you happy. And it is okay to change the industry if that doesn't work out, or change the place where you're working, or maybe even the position. Maybe that's just doesn't excite you and you want to start and try something new. So I love what you were saying about that it is okay to take breaks if the opportunity comes and you are in a place where you get inspired by all these breaks to do something and just to be better at your job when you come back. I love that you've had that experience.
I just want to acknowledge how privileged of an experience that is. And not a lot of people can do that or have the opportunity to do it. And it felt lucky, but it is, I think my message is less about do what I did and more about, really carve out the things that you love in the career. And that can exist in many different places, and you should explore those places.
Absolutely. So how do you personally define success today? And has that definition evolved over time?
Yeah, it totally has. I think in my 20s, I was like, get me the money. Get me the money and get me the title and get me the recognition. And it was very, listen, I still get me the money.
And that's okay.
A little less now, but yes, as working in the nonprofit field. But I left New York City about 6 years ago or so, pre-pandemic, oddly, and moved up to the Hudson Valley. And that really sort of shifted what success meant to me. And it was because it was forced to change what success meant to me. I really grinded when I was younger, and I really thrived on that. And that kind of fed me in for good or better. Like we can have that argument of whether or not I was grinding too much and working too hard. But I really love that. And that to me was like success, like working on these big projects and going. And now success to me is having more of that work-life balance. And I don't know if COVID kind of shifted that culture or moving up to the Hudson Valley shifted that culture, but I really like to work hard and I like to walk my dog and work out and meet a friend for coffee in the morning. And that's something that is such a new shift in lifestyle for me that I'm really enjoying in this moment. And I feel like, gosh, I feel like I'm winning right now. But like sometimes going on LinkedIn can be triggering for me, to be honest, because I see a lot of my peers in these big stages having these big awards and these big TED Talks and stuff. And I have to remind myself that I too am successful, just now on my terms, right? Wow, I made it to being a CMO. Wow, I'm working in nonprofit. I'm doing purpose-filled job. Like everything that I have worked so hard for is true. And I can walk my dog but sometimes, when you start to compare with your old metrics of success, it can get a little tricky. And that's sort of my like honest and vulnerable take on it.
Yes, I can relate to what you're saying so much. When I started working, it was more about like, okay, I would like to make more money. I would like to climb that ladder. I want to have this big title by X years old and things like that. But then you realize that in the end, for me, the realization came actually from COVID, yes, but also from my fiance at that time, husband now. I was diagnosed with cancer. And I was in that stage where I want to be able to spend time with him, and be able to support him on a level that needs to be supported. Thank God, everything went well, and, he's cancer free and everything is fine. But I think that was one of those defining moments where you realize that the life is short and you should be doing things that you truly enjoy. So that actually triggered me to redefine what success is. That's when I decided to open up my own agency, go on my own, so I can have more time to do things that I love. Did that work out very well? I would say that at first, because you bring your corporate culture, what do you know, to your own business, if that makes sense, right? Yeah. So I was working even more. Yes, I was working from home. Yes, I was able to take breaks when I need to and go to a Pilates class or whatever that is in between. But that didn't mean that I didn't wake up at 6 a.m. and began my day with the computer work. Or I didn't, I put everybody to bed and I went back and I worked for another hour, right? So it kind of became that thing. And unfortunately, it still happens right now because I'm just multi-passionate and I love to do all the different things. And I started a podcast and it is a big undertaking. I am enjoying the process. And I think this is what kind of is meant for me to do. I love this. But at the same time, it requires a lot of work. So some seasons I had a baby. I was able to take very slow mornings and finish work early, but I haven't taken on any new clients. It was just the clients that I was servicing. And I also wasn't taking on any new passion projects of mine. And I enjoyed having slow mornings. I would finish my work around 3 when my older daughter came home and things like that. But that was the season. And now I feel like I'm back into the season where I would love to grow the podcast and continue servicing my clients and get new clients. So I think it's also very seasonal what success is, but balance and figuring out what makes you happy and being able to do more of those things is what success means to me right now.
I'm really going to take away the seasons of success. That was such, an aha moment for me. Wow, that's really powerful. You're right. What season are you in and what are your metrics of success? Woo, that was good.
AI and automation are changing the way we do marketing faster than ever before. But here's the thing. You don't have to figure it out on your own. That's why I created the Marketing Your Way community on Slack. It's a free space where women in marketing can come together to share AI tools, swap automation workflows, and run ideas past each other. Whether you're leading a corporate marketing team, running an agency, or freelancing on your own, this is where you'll find support, inspiration, and real-world examples you can put into action right away. So if you've been curious about AI, but not sure where to start, come join us. It's free, it's collaborative, and it's built to help you work smarter, not harder. You can join today at marketingyourwaypodcast.com/community. I cannot wait to see you inside. So now I'm going to ask about the sexy part of your career, the big names. So please, I know that you worked with Oprah Winfrey, and for so many of us, Oprah is the definition of possibility of success, what women can do in this world. So what was it like to step into own the Oprah Winfrey Network and lead integrated marketing there?
It was a dream. It was a dream. I had worked on the agency side when the network had just started, and it was such a pleasure working with their team. Their intentionality and just the program was refreshing, and it felt new and different to me in a time where I was doing fashion on the red carpet. Here we were talking about how to manage stress in a way. It was purpose-driven work in a way that was still in the entertainment field. And I was exploring moving to Chicago for personal reasons and wrote a note to the CMO at the time because the network was still based in Chicago as she was wrapping down her show days, and really talked about my next chapter and what I was looking for. And, that saying luck equals opportunity and preparation. I was lucky. I had already an existing relationship with the team, and that was built on trust and mutual respect. And there was a position that had just opened. So boom, there we are. And And that's how I ended up there. You miss every shot you don't take. And I took my shot and got it. And the people that Oprah surrounds herself with, understand her brand around what it means to share stories from different perspectives, representation, integrity. Like everything about Oprah was true across every touch point, from tours to magazines to her network to her brand. Yeah. That's how I got there.
I love it. And you're so right. The luck is one thing, but also taking a step towards what you really wanted is another, right? So I'm going to be crazy enough to ask for this opportunity and see what comes out of it. In my case, I wanted this one job within the company that I worked for, and I wanted to explore something new. And the first answer was no. No, we're looking for someone more experienced. We're looking for someone who has experience in that field. And I think you're doing a great job with what you're doing now, and we would like to continue with that. And I said, okay, if that's the consensus, I'll go and I'll continue. And then a few months later, they've been trying to hire for that position. I've been stepping my foot into that position many times where like we were in between the roles, and no one was actually sticking to that position. People would leave after 2 weeks because it was a very high intensity job. But at that time, that's what I really wanted. So unless you are within the company and you know the politics and you know how people act and react and what they require within the leadership team, it was really hard to hire from outside and not within, if that makes sense. So then I went back and I said, well, I really want this job. I think that I've did like 50% out of that job responsibility while we were in this transition, and that I got it. And the fact that because I got it, I was able to be bold enough with my agency to acquire different type of client, not, just because I was able to work on both sides and I knew that I could do it. Mm-hmm. As you said, any shot you don't take is your loss. Yeah. It doesn't have to be always successful, and maybe not as successful from the first time, but the second time, third time, fourth time, as long as you're going, you will never fail if you keep going. There will be that
persistence.
Yes, absolutely. Is there a behind the scenes moment from working with Oprah or her team that really stuck with you?
Oh, so many. I loved working on Oprah's Favorite Things because it was cool to see the best of goods from, small businesses and all over, and how lives were changed. But one of the first things when I got to the network that was happening was she was going on tour around the country. And it will always stick with me to see firsthand her fandom and her loyalty and the way she can inspire an arena of people. Like that kind of magneticism and ability to move people in this like fragmented media space, was just wild. And I think because that was sort of like my first step into the brand, and watching the arenas fill up and watching all of our teams just scramble till the end hour in the morning to get everything perfect and done it was an incredible experience.
Yes. After watching one before the presidential election, and I don't remember exactly her words, but I was like, okay, this is our next president. I really hope one day.
It was her Golden Globe speech. Yeah.
Yes.
Even I was moved. And like, I'm like sort of in the brand. And yes, that was an incredible moment. Yeah.
Yes. She's such a powerful woman. And, but she's also who she is because of the team behind and people she hires like you. Owen was about telling authentic stories that inspire. How did that experience shape your approach to storytelling today?
Yeah, a lot. I think it was a profound change where you started to look at storytelling through a different lens. A lot of the stories that we told at OWN was really about uplifting human forward perspectives. What is the heart of the story? Why is this important to tell? Does this challenge a stereotype? does this progress of a good narrative? There were really important questions all of us needed to ask ourselves before we created any sort of content. And sometimes that was challenging because we would have brands like Ziploc who wanted to do a piece of custom branding, but it was really finding creative ways of like, well, how do we take this brand and make it beneficial to someone's life? Or who are we casting in this story? Or who are the people behind the cameras? Like making sure there was representation and diverse perspectives and authenticity, which I kind of hate that word right now because it's being so overused, but making sure that it was really heart and human forward. And that's kind of has been sort of my approach as I followed, my North Star of work that I'm doing in helping to shape narratives and tell stories.
Absolutely. Yes. If you had to distill it, what's one Oprah lesson you carry into every project?
One thing that I think I've taken from my experience working at the Oprah Winfrey Network and surrounded by Oprah is to stay curious and always continue to learn. And you've seen that, from the Oprah Winfrey show days, she was an interviewer, like her quest to talk to people, all different people, and tell all different stories and read books and continue to get higher in the learning and higher consciousness, right? Like that kind of curiosity has sort of been my kind of North Star in some ways of like really trying to get out of my bubble and experience the world and be curious with people, with things, with places, and that's, I think, has been the greatest lesson that I've taken away from that experience.
Beautiful. Curiosity is one of those words where I feel like at some point when we grow up, I start losing it. And then little by little, like I'm watching my 11 years old now, and her reply to everything that I'm telling her is that she knows. Does that drive me crazy a little bit? Absolutely. But at the same time, I see how sometimes we just trying to grow up too fast. And then bringing that back into our adulthood when we are curious about things and we are learning new things, it can take you so many different places, from just expanding your mind and your network and everything around you, to also, if you are curious within your career and if you're curious about what other people do on your team and how everything works, or how the departments work together, or what is that ROI in the end of the job. When we are getting hired or when we are interviewing for a job, you don't really understand the full picture. Like, what is it that they need from that position and why the company is hiring for that particular position? Because sometimes it's just like, okay, we lost this person, we have to replace this person, but it's not really like, how does this position take a company from X to Z? Like, how can this position bring the ROI to the company, right? So part of it is being curious and being open-minded to learning new things, sometimes outside of your job description and outside of what is required from that position. And that would moves you forward within your career is to be curious and learning new things. Right now, I'm trying to automate everything within my processes and try to eliminate the administrative tasks as much as possible. Because they drain my energy and I'm less creative, and it just having more time within like my zone of genius would be amazing. So I'm taking this year, that was my resolution, is to automate as much as I can on the administrative things.
Right.
And it's been quite a journey. It's definitely requires so much learning, and thank God for ChatGPT, because I feel like she is my best friend right now, because all I try to do between Zapier and Make.com and all kinds of automations between different platforms is what I am doing. And I'm really enjoying this process. It's been an interesting transition to be learning new things like that, even a little coding here and there. That is impressive, especially as a marketer. You wear so many hats within the industry, and
Totally.
It's been a great way. So curiosity is a big word. I love it. quick break to tell you about one of my favorite tools for simplifying the behind the scenes of my business, Make. If you ever wished you could clone yourself to keep up with all the admin tasks, this is the next big thing. Make lets you connect the apps you already use like Gmail, Airtable, Slack, or Canva, and build automations that run on autopilot. Think new client sends a contract and instantly their info gets added to your CRM, a welcome email goes out, and a Slack notification pings your team, all without you lifting a finger. Here's the best part. You don't need to be techy to set it up. Their drag and drop interface make it simple to create workflows that save you hours every single week. It feels like having an extra team member working 24/7. So if you're ready to free up your time and focus on the creative, strategic work only you can do, head to marketingyourwaypodcast.com/make to start building your automations today. That's marketingyourwaypodcast.com/make. Once you try Make, you'll wonder how you ever ran your business without it. So you also said that your lived experience is your edge. How has embracing that shaped your leadership and mentorship of others?
I think all of us are unique. I mean, that feels like a fact, not a thought, but we are. We're all unique. We all have a different upbringing, a different perspective, different lived experiences. And I think in this automated world, like that's our edge, like that's our human edge. And the way that I've taken that into leadership is to appreciate not just what my edge is, but what your edge is and what his edge is and what her edge is and what their edges are, right? And really tried to like lean into everyone's different perspectives, everyone's different thoughts. They are able to come up with creative solutions that I may not have and vice versa. And that is the key. And again, I don't mean to like overstate this, but the more we can be connected, the more we can be creative. We can come up with creative solutions. Like it doesn't just happen in a bubble.
Yes. The selfish reason why I started a podcast was because I wanted to continue learning from others. Seeing different perspectives was one of the things that inspired me to start the podcast, and also to inspire others with the stories that you tell, with your journey. And as you said, like everyone has such a unique take on everything. It's not about the situation, it's how we react to it and the story we tell ourselves about the situation because of the previous experiences. So that was one thing when I started working as a solopreneur that I was really missing. I think it was just that collaboration.
Yeah.
And running your idea by other people. And
yes, you need your crew, whoever that crew is.
Absolutely. Yes. So when I started building a team, it helped a lot. I think that really like brought back that creative edge and hearing everyone's perspective and seeing the strengths that people have in different aspects of your business is also very important. Given tasks towards that strengths is really huge, and learning that requires a lot of attention on you as a leader to recognize where people thrive. So in today's overstimulated content environment, what does it really take to drive social change through marketing?
Listen, headlines are coming fast at us. We are in a very hard time in the world, both here, globally. I think everyone is feeling exhausted, hopeless. And I think it's really easy to disengage and scroll through cute animals on Instagram, you know? And so to create impact, I think it's really important to understand the moment and understand how people are feeling. That's why the work at the League is really important, because we're creating impact through culture, and culture is where people are all of the time. And we work to translate, whether it's civic education or voting information or just important narratives out through culture, right? So we think about how we tap into fandom. We think about how sports are where people are gathering, or we think about people who are trusted messengers who can deliver information in a way that doesn't feel hopeless or that feels personal and urgent or interesting, right? Or around their interests. So it's sort of this like science meets art meets trying combination of getting through the algorithm and also getting through people's wall of exhaustion right now. Culture is the key to that. Culture is the key.
As you were saying this, one company that popped up in my mind was Skim, right? And the way they decided to interpret the main news and the information and deliver it in more engaging way.
Totally. Bite size, easy, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. I love what you do with the league.
Yeah. And they're doing really good work, especially around like reproductive rights. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. We just talked about it. You highlighted curiosity and kindness as leadership values. What does that look like in action for you? How do you encourage curiosity from your team?
Yeah, not to overstate it, but I do think that getting out, I encourage all the different teams that I was able to lead to get out, go to a museum, go see a concert, go see a movie. What are you reading? Like having a little culture corner moment, right? Where I didn't see that music video, or I didn't know about that song, or tell me about that diss track. Like it's helpful for everyone in marketing and in creativity to understand culture and to experiencing it from their own perspective so they can bring their lived experience to the team. So that's curiosity and continued learning. If anyone ever wanted to take a class or learn Adobe or go back to school, go do it. Do it. How do we find a way? And then kindness, especially in this remote working world where you don't really have the human touch point that we did when we were in the office together to kind of read physical cues, or are you feeling down, or do you need a minute? Like Zooms can be really exhausting. We don't know what's happening in our coworkers' lives. I think we need to lead with kindness. And we do that on our projects, with our vendors, with our partners, with our team. And again, I know I keep saying this, but I feel like, when we lead with kindness, people are less motivated perhaps to do a quiet quitting because they feel like they're seen and heard and valued at work. And the more we can do that, it's good. It's good for the culture. It's good for the business. I mean, doesn't cost anything to be kind.
Absolutely. It is very true. And I do most of my job remote. I have some in-person meetings and I love them as well. Like I love getting out. But at the same time, I remember being full-time in the office all the time. I was craving this flexibility of being remote and not having to commute and everything. But it's definitely a balance. And as much as we can bring back a little bit of that human connection, it is much needed, right?
Yeah.
I try with my team every Friday. We have a meeting where like 5 minutes is about work, but then 30 minutes we're just having lunch together in front of our computers via Zoom, but still chatting about like, how's everything, in your life? What are you doing? And you really have to connect more on a human level. And that's one of the things where the chats that are not about work also help. The cute animal video that that you can send to someone. It's, it could make someone's day. So yes, let's
connects you. Are you watching the show? I mean, when I was in the office, like, even though I might not have anything in common with this woman next to me, like we both watched reality shows and we both were like, did you see last night's episode? It gives you some kind of like common connection that's like outside of the grind of work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're coming up to one of my favorite parts of the interview, the quick sound bites. Favorite campaign you've ever worked on?
Ooh, this sounds silly. We did a campaign at the Oprah Winfrey Network with IKEA where we went around the country and redid rooms of like people who had like entered and had deserving stories. And the bonding that happens with your crew when you're assembling IKEA furniture was like second to none. And like, I was able to direct the spots of interviewing these people and like hearing their stories, being in their homes, getting to know them. It was just so fulfilling, like the whole project, from traveling to see the country to bonding with the crew to telling these really heartfelt stories. It's going to go down in history as one of my favorite campaigns.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And I love IKEA. We go
love
as a family.
Brand was incredible. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So a mantra, a quote you live by.
Professionally, I do love like you miss all the shots you don't take. On a personal level, I found this in like a Dove chocolate and I loved it. It was anticipation makes the pleasure. So I try to like look forward to things because sometimes looking forward to things is part of the fun. It's like getting ready before you go out. Like sometimes just even getting ready to go out is like the fun part, before dinner and stuff. So that's my personal and professional mantras.
I love seeing right now my 11-year-old daughter getting ready for like a birthday party and how they're all chatting. What are you wearing? Are you doing this? This is the best part of the actual event. I wish I'm calling someone to ask what they're wearing so we can match.
Right? I do miss I had a friend come and visit recently and we got ready together and I was like, this is fun. This is really fun.
Right. So book a podcast you'd recommend to every marketer.
I do not have the answer to that. I do not have a book or like a specific book or like a Mel Robbins or anything that I mean, love her, let them. But I'm really, really fascinated with fandom right now, like from like the spicy book clubs to like F1 and how podcasts and social media are helping to fuel and feed the fandom in a way that like we haven't seen before. And I do think marketers should be paying attention to that. So that's more of a different angle than like a specific podcast that I would recommend.
I love it. Yes. I think that social media and podcasting and video marketing, right? Totally changed the way we build brands, we build trust, and we show that authenticity of everyone. And it's no longer about the company, but it's more about who is a leader of that company.
You just go so much deeper into like the fandom and the bits and pieces and the podcasts and the hot takes. Like you're really there's just so much to like digest and eat up when it comes to your interests. And I just I'm fascinated by it. It's awesome.
Love it. Okay. So what is your go-to coffee or tea order?
Oh, I want to be a matcha girl, but I'm a latte. I need a kick of caffeine. I try to drink some mushroom coffee during the week, but yeah, latte, plain, milk, plain.
Same. I did start with matcha, but I still need my coffee and matchas during the day.
Totally.
That is mine.
Yeah. I love a latte in the morning.
Yes. Okay. So dream dinner guest beside Oprah.
Okay. Well, the first person that came to mind was Michelle Obama, because I'm convinced that we would have a really good time if we sat down. But I just recently saw Ani DeFranco. She is a folk singer with my best friend from high school. And we realized that we have been seeing her in concert since we were 14 years old. That's many decades of seeing Ani DeFranco. And she has really shaped from a very young age, like our political and feminist perspective. And to sit down to dinner with her would be like an honor, like to get to know her, because I feel like I grew up with her. So that's my answer today of who I would want to sit down with. She is my personal rock star.
I love it. Okay. A city that always inspires your creativity.
Okay. Well, I ride hard for New York City. Like that is to me just the melting pot of cultures. I love it. But I have to shout out just global cities in general, because traveling the world, which I've been so privileged to do, always opens up my creativity, from Mumbai to Tokyo to like even here in the States, like Santa Fe, London, Paris, like every place has such a unique culture, unique art and tastes and smells and vibes and fashion. And I love seeing it. I love seeing it. And it always sparks my creativity. So there isn't really truly one city. But if I had to pick one, it'd be New York.
No, that's perfect. I right now, for me, like if you ask me the same question, I think would be Paris. I don't know.
Ooh, why? Because why not? Because Paris is spectacular.
It's just like between the food and the fashion, how people dress. And after watching Emily in Paris, I'm sorry, I do not know how you cannot love that city.
Yes. I just want wine and a cigarette, even though I don't smoke. Like, I just love Paris. I love it. Right? I want to dress like a Parisian woman. Yes.
Yes. I think that I would like to retire there. That's one of my places to go. I would love to. Yes.
I want to manifest.
I'm inspiring my daughters, both of them, to go and study abroad. So selfishly, I can visit as much as possible.
Yeah.
To go there. Favorite way to recharge outside of work?
I am a big moving my body girl. I like to do a good sweat every day. But if I had to give you like my secret true answer.
Yes, I would like the secret true answer.
My secret true answer is I really can binge. I can really binge a show. I really can. Like, give me something that's hooked and I will like see you in a few days. Or I'll be like, why is it 1 a.m. and I'm still, my face is in my phone. It's like my husband's like passed out next to me. Like I don't know if that's recharging, but I would say between those two things, which are complete on spots on the spectrum, like on the opposite lens, but that's meet me somewhere in the middle. But it's like moving my body and binging shows.
For listeners who want to follow your journey, connect, where is the best place to find you, Dana?
I mean, you can always find me on Instagram at dayrobin with Y's, but that's mostly pictures of my dog and life in the Hudson Valley. From a professional standpoint, I think LinkedIn is always best. You can find me there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so very much. This was a beautiful conversation.
Oh, thank you.
I loved all your lessons and all of the sound bites. It's full of wisdom. And again, thank you for joining Marketing Your Way podcast.
Thank you.
And that's it for today's episode of the Marketing Your Way podcast. I hope you're walking away with fresh ideas, new insights, and the confidence to take your next step. If this episode spoke to you, please take a moment to leave a review. It helps more women in marketing find the show and build a marketing career on their terms. And hey, don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Until next time, keep building your marketing career your way.